Italy is one of the best places to get street food, and one of the best street foods in Italy is mozzarella in Carrozza. Welcome to Actually Italian. I'm Sal, and I've been living in Italy for years. I'm really excited to teach you some authentic recipes to help you cook like an Italian. Mozzarella in Carrozza is like an adult grilled cheese, let's call it that. It's a fried mozzarella sandwich. There are different variations of this all over Italy. In the south, in Naples, they'll fry them up with like a breadcrumb crust. Up here in the north, where I am, we're near Venice, and so they make a batter to fry these. The one thing that's the same, no matter where you get it, north or south, is this. That oozy, melty cheese that's just so irresistible. The best cheese to use is a nice fresh mozzarella. Instead of using a low moisture mozzarella or one that's already shredded, if you use this fresh mozzarella, it's going to have a nice creamy taste in addition to being nice and stretchy. So that's what they use here, and that's what we're going to use. The bread is also going to make a difference, because what we want is a bread that's going to be squishy, so that way it can absorb the milk and the batter and become essentially part of the batter without falling apart. So I've got some sandwich bread here, just cut the crust off. I wouldn't use like Wonder Bread or anything like that. I would use something, you know, maybe a little more rustic than that, I guess, where it is going to absorb and it's not just going to fall to pieces. These are perfectly customizable. You can put whatever else you want besides the cheese inside. Some ideas would be some caramelized onions, roasted mushrooms, even if you had some leftover pulled pork or something like that. Anything can really go in the middle. It's really up to you. The most popular ways that they do it up here are filled with prosciutto cotto, which is a ham, anchovies, or baccalà mantecato, which is a salt cod that's been cooked with milk and then made into almost like a paste. The way I like to describe it when it's in a mozzarella and carrozza is like an adult tuna melt. It's awesome. It's my favorite way to eat them. The batter for this is kind of twofold. The first thing we'll do is we're going to dip it in some milk, then we're going to dip it in the batter. The batter is a simple beer batter. So I've got some flour. I have a link to the measurements in the description box below. I have a little bit of the flour. I'm going to add some beer to it. I'm going to mix it up. The texture that we're looking for is essentially like buttermilk or some real heavy cream. So instead of me going by measurement, I'm going to eyeball it, and when I see that it has that texture, then I know that we're all set. You can see the carbonation from that beer. It's going to give it a nice crispiness. If you don't want to use beer in this, then some seltzer water would be a good replacement. This is essentially the texture that we're looking for here. It's a little bit loose, about what you'd get from a heavy cream. I'll add a little salt, and that's it. The first stage of the assembly is putting all the dry parts together, and then the last stage we're going to do the batter. We want to do that at the last second. I've also cut the bread in half. So I want to put the mozzarella in first, and you can see it's kind of coming over the edge there. I want to take some of that off so that way it doesn't come out, and basically fill the entire inside. First one I'm going to do now is with anchovy, or Italian MSG as I call it, because it's so loaded with umami. Then I'm going to put a little bit more mozzarella on the other side and then close it up. And I want to kind of squish it. I want to get everything kind of tightly packed in there. And that's it for now. I'll go for the baccalà. Just need a little bit in there. The last version is with the prosciutto cotto, so this is nice Italian ham. Now the second part of the assembly. I've got my oil already heated up to about 375 degrees. I have to work very quickly at this point, so have everything set up, ready to go when you do this. I'm going to give them another squish, then I have to dip them quickly in the milk and then right into the batter. Now I want to get this all battered there, and this is the tricky part, getting it into the oil. And I also want to get some of the batter off and then right in the hot oil. I'm pressing down on it just to make sure it all stays together. We want to do that until it basically kind of comes together. The idea is just to kind of keep turning them until they get pretty golden brown. This one's just about done. I'm only doing 2 at a time here because I don't want to crowd it. I want room to move around. That's about the color that we're looking for. So I'll give it a couple of minutes with the other side down and then I'll take this one out. I flipped it over and I can hear that this is nice and crispy and crunchy. We're not trying to really cook this, we just want to get it crispy and melt the cheese. This one's ready to come out. I'm going to drain it on a rack, not on paper towel, because I want to keep it crispy. All right, I'm going to do this Venetian cicchetteria style. In Venice, there are these little tapa-style places all over, and this is one of my favorite things to get there. I'm going to dive right into my favorite one with the baccalà. They serve it with a little ombra, they call it, which means shadow. I don't know why they call it a shadow, but what they do is they give you a little glass of wine with your mozzarella and carrozza, and you just stand there at the bar and chat with the locals. So let me give it a taste. Yeah, that is good. Nice and crunchy on the outside. It's super creamy inside because that bread with the milk really becomes like part of the batter. And then you get the stretchy mozzarella. In this case, I've got the baccalà mantecato, which is also very creamy. It's pretty rich. You do need something to wash it down. So I'm going to give this Ribolla Gialla, which is a local wine to us. Oh. Yeah, that's what life is all about right there. That's why living in Italy is such a treat. And you can bring a little bit of that Italian living to your house too by making these little mozzarella and carrozza. I'll put a link in the description to some of the other videos of street food that I've made already. Anyway, that wraps it up today, so I'll see you in the next video.